He said, like he would not drive it to Maine. So yeah, all right, not going to Maine. I guess that means that I need to, find another means to get to Maine for the Old Port Half that I ran on Saturday. And then on Saturday, Friday night, did Free Talk Live. Went to bed, I think, around 11. All right, I should be able to get 3.5 good hours of sleep. Want to be up by 2:30, out the door by 3. Set some alarms. Fall asleep. And then I wake up at 3:55. Holy crap, I wanted to be on the road an hour ago. All right. Let me just grab a Cliff Bar and a couple of protein bars and a drink and run out the front door and drive. All right. Change the directions on the phone to, instead of avoid all the tolls, I'll hit all the tolls, I'll pay them. That cut half an hour off of the drive. So instead of being 3 hours, 15 minutes, closer to 3.5 hours. All right, got it down to 2:40. And then I may or may not have made it from Keene to Portland, Maine in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah, so wound up, got to a parking spot about a block and a half away from race registration. I see a big, huge line at the pay kiosk. All right, guess I've got to pay. Pay.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 5th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $19, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,650. Antiwar.com reports in August of 2017, President Trump surprised many by openly talking about the idea of launching a military attack on Venezuela. The public talk of this did not last long, and it's been all but forgotten, but not forgotten by President Trump. Aides say that since August, President Trump has repeatedly pushed aides on the matter, and that a number of different cabinet members have had to take turns trying to talk Trump out of the idea. They have succeeded so far, but Trump has not dropped the idea. Of course, there's no congressional authorization or anything resembling it on the books authorizing the U.S. invasion of Venezuela. This did not appear to faze Trump, however, and he argued to his cabinet that Venezuela was a threat to regional security, so he should just invade and be done with it. This shocked members of his cabinet, including former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. They were both opposed to the idea, but it's less clear if their successors, Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, would have a problem with this sort of unprovoked U.S. attack. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports a woman was arrested Wednesday after she climbed the Statue of Liberty to protest the Trump administration's immigration policies, according to officials. Therese Patricia Okomo was part of a previous protest at the base of the Statue of Liberty, where several activists from the New York City-based Rise and Resist, an anti-Trump group, held a banner that said, "Abolish ICE," referring to the Immigration and Custom Enforcement Agency. After several people were arrested in that demonstration, Okomo walked to another part of the statue base and refused to move until all the migrant children are released, according to a New York City Police Department official. NYPD officer Brian Clacken said in a news conference she just kind of mentioned the children in Texas. Several officers tried to persuade her to come down from the statue. Clacken said it took about 3 hours to convince her to get down, and she apologized to officers for having to arrest her. She faces charges of interfering with national park regulations, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. After Okomo's arrest, Rise and Resist distanced itself from her actions. They issued a statement saying the person who climbed the Statue of Liberty was one one of 40 participants in our planned banner action, but her decision to climb the statue was made independently of the group without consulting any other members of the group. We understand and share her desire to see the immediate release of children from detention and reunion with their parents. We hope that her legal representation will arrange for her release under her own recognizance. The Trump administration has received criticism in recent weeks for its zero-tolerance policy at the U.S.-Mexico border, which involved prosecuting all immigrants who entered the country illegally and, in some cases, separating children from their parents as the case gets moved through federal courts. In response to that criticism, President Donald Trump signed an executive order on June 20th to end the family separating policy, but some families have yet to be reunited. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports U.S. Representative Steny Hoyer, the number 2 Democrat in the House of Representatives, serving as the minority whip, has been hospitalized with pneumonia and is expected to make a quick recovery, according to his office on Wednesday. 79-year-old Hoyer of Maryland was admitted to the George Washington University Hospital on Tuesday and diagnosed with pneumonia, according to spokeswoman Katie Grant. Grant said in a statement, he is being treated with antibiotics and resting and is expected to make a full recovery quickly. Politico, which first reported the hospitalization, said Hoyer had campaigned over the weekend with Democratic incumbents and swing district candidates in Wisconsin and Illinois. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Today's most popular video games take place in dangerous post-apocalyptic landscapes. But are these games enough to prepare our kids for the actual post-apocalyptic future we will all soon face?
Well, I think these games are quite effective at teaching our kids skills like finding shotgun ammo and leading elite squads of super soldiers.
But these aren't the advanced skills that they're going to need. They're going to need the more practical skills like how to find drinking water by collecting the morning dew in human skulls.
Or how to deal with depression when the sun is blocked out for 500 years by a cloud of radioactive dust.
Absolutely. Now, that's the type of knowledge these kids are going to need when their world has been turned into a brutal hellscape.
But these kids said that they know how to find items to barter at weapon shops and how to use medicine packs to heal zombie bites.
The games make it all seem deceptively simple. I mean, in the future, a kid's not going to be able to kill a 6-foot-long irradiated beetle just by pressing a few buttons, and he's going to have to get down there with an axe and hack and hack and hack.
This is the Onion News Network. The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm going to start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Birdcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our BitPlus network satellite.
This is
the Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
Yeah, we remembered today.
We did. Well, welcome back to the Call to Freedom. It is Thursday, July the 5th, 2018. Joining me today in the studio is Chris Wade of Think Penguin, and joining remotely from East Tennessee is our lawyer, resident attorney, Tom Gray. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day out here in Keene.
It is.
Did we ever get the penguin dance queued up for Chris? I guess I could.
I don't have any idea. I remember looking for it.
Didn't we do this like last week?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know if we actually ever found the penguin dance though, like the one that Tom was thinking of.
The one that he's singing now.
Yeah. I think there was some penguin dance songs or something, but it wasn't the right one.
So Tom, you seem to be in a good mood.
Well, another one bit the dust. Scott Pruitt is out as director of the Environmental Protection Agency. This one has been kind of a long time coming, but I'm always happy when somebody in a cabinet level position has to resign over mounting scandals and being a general douchebag. And Pruitt,
what was he doing?
What did he resign over?
A number of things. Like, it could be any number of things.
For being part of a tyrannical government agency?
I wish.
There was that, and being really bad at it.
Well, there's no way to be good at that, to be fair.
His main thing was extremely questionable personal spending decisions, the most famous of which was that he used $43,000 of government money to purchase a privacy booth for himself.
What is that? Privacy booth?
Yeah, for making phone calls. And he had a...
Like Stormy Daniels kind of phone calls?
The other thing was that he was really bad about keeping records that he is obligated by law to keep.
That'll do it.
So, this is from Talking Points memo. Pruitt faced a wave of scandals during his tenure, both over his excessive and improper personal expenses and his aggressive, industry-aligned deregulatory agenda. His various bizarre expenditures as administrator, from a $43,000 privacy booth he had installed in his office to the unnecessary multi-million-dollar 24/7 security force that accompanied his every step as a Trump cabinet official, all added to the mythology of the former Oklahoma Attorney General as a sort of pioneer in public corruption and misbehavior. Thing is, the guy who's taking over for him is Andrew Wheeler, who is a former lobbyist for the coal industry. So,
World War I fascism continues.
Jim Inhofe, who is considered to be the Senate's, quote, Dean of Climate Science Denial, said, "There's this guy behind him, Andrew Wheeler. You could say that might be a good swap." So we haven't really upgraded, but not really sad to see him go, you know. Well, always nice to have somebody quit on a Thursday. Usually we get those on Friday and it gets buried in the chafe of the weekend.
That's true. Well, I would rather see the entire agency just gotten rid of.
Shut it all down.
I mean, it's got to be better. I mean, even for the liberals, it's got to be better to just get rid of the EPA than to appoint a coal lobbyist as its head. You think we'd be able to convince liberals that, hey, it's time to abolish this thing that's run by a coal executive?
I feel like I'm getting like a little bit closer every day. It's talking to my liberal friends during the Trump administration feels a lot like, and of course I have experience with this too, you know, talking to your friend who has an alcohol problem like every Sunday morning. Like you call them after the bender and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, it sucks. You know, I really need to change something in my life." And you're like, "You could give up the booze to come to church." And the first Sunday they're like, "Church is garbage, blah, blah, blah. I like the booze, blah, blah, blah." And the next Sunday they're like, "Maybe I could have one less drink next week." And then they're like, "Well, maybe I'll come to the Wednesday night service when there's nobody there." And then they're like, "Maybe I'll come to the potluck next week." And then they're like, "Maybe I'll switch from
they'll make it to
Jägermeister."
they'll make it to the potluck, man.
Oh yeah, everybody's got to make it to the potluck. Once they find out what a potluck is and find out that you can get away without bringing something to the potluck yourself, everybody comes to the potluck.
I don't even know what that is.
You know what I mean? It's like chipping. Oh, you poor sad man. The potluck dinner.
Is this a Southern thing?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
More of a church thing, I think.
Okay.
But everybody brings a dish, and they just all set them up, and then you go through with the plate, grabbing what you want.
Yeah. Grab a little, and you grab a little. You have to grab a little of everything to be polite. That's the Southern part of it. The idea of communal dinners. That's in a lot of different cultures around the world. The idea that you have to eat a little bit of everything or else you offend people, that is uniquely Southern.
I thought that was a Chinese thing.
Well, Will did a Ramadan dinner at Porkfest that was very similar to a potluck.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think he even called it a potluck.
I may have screwed up on that one. I didn't know about you're supposed to take a little bit of everything.
Well, he's from the South as well, though, so maybe that's where the potluck part of it came from.
But I don't think the part about having to eat a little bit of everything is part of the Islamic culture. But Will is from down here. I mean, we're from the same area. So
right.
He might be personally offended if you didn't try every single thing that he cooked.
He cooks a lot of different stuff, though.
Yeah,
You'll die of overeating if you cook everything. If you eat everything he cooks.
Well, look at how most Southern Baptists die.
Oh wow!
No comment.
Type 2 diabetes and weight-related problems of various stripes, and there's a reason for that. It's because we don't say no to food. We just don't.
I have a hard time saying no to good food.
Right.
It's all good food at the potluck, except
I don't really care. To me, food is food. It's just fuel to keep my body going for another 24 hours. I do not get the appeal of, oh my goodness, this food is so good. Does it stay down? If so, it's good food. That's my take.
That's a good analogy, but the people who go to potluck dinners are often also the people who say that you have to put a tank of 93 octane gas in your car once a month to give it a treat. So people
that's a good way to ruin your carburetor or your fuel injectors. Well, when we get back here in a couple of minutes, we're going to be continuing talking about Christians, although not with this particular context. Apparently, they've decided to apologize to the LGBT community for treating them as sex acts rather than people.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Despite being objectively awful people, newly engaged couple Ross Bird and Jessica Black want their upcoming wedding to really reflect their personalities.
We're pulling out all the stops to have a kind of wedding that just screams us.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a bluegrass band playing 80s pop songs. Because Ross loves bluegrass, but I love 80s music.
And then at the end of the ceremony, this is great, we're gonna pass out sparklers to all the guests.
Sources claim that a bunch of candles in mason jars and an Instagram photo booth will truly capture the essence of the insufferable pair.
We didn't want some big stuffy ceremony.
Yeah,
it should feel more like a fun dance party for our friends.
Because the night's about us, yes, but I mean it's also about the people who make us us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And those people love us exactly for our uniqueness.
Sources hoped with every fiber of their being that these two would be divorced within a year.
This is the Onion News Network. Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom. We are broadcasting live from the Zencast studio in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Joining me in the studio, as said earlier, is Chris Wade of Think Penguin, and joining remotely from East Tennessee is Tom Gray. Now, as we talked about a little bit before, there's been some interesting Christian developments coming from CNN out of the Philippines capital of Manila. We have a story about Christians apologizing to the LGBT community. Tom, would you like to take it? I know you have a lot more comments about it than I do.
Okay. No, I don't know why I paused there. I'm looking right at it. Okay. This is from the article. Religion has often been used to put down the LGBT community. But at a pride parade this past weekend in Marikina, a city just east of the Philippines capital of Manila, a group of Christians gathered to say something different. I'm sorry. Members of the Church of Freedom in Christ Ministries stood at the main entrance of the parade holding signs that offered apologies for how the LGBT community has been treated by Christians. These banners read, quote, "We are here to apologize for the ways that we, as Christians, have harmed the LGBT community." Some of the signs had more personal sentiments. One man stated, "Can we hug you?"
Let me interrupt you for a second there. It's not Christians that harm the LGBT community. It's disgusting human beings weaponizing religion. And they could use any religion they wanted on earth in order to do that. It's not a Christian problem. It's I almost said something really bad. It's a jerk problem.
You could probably still say the bad thing.
Oh, no, I can't.
Okay, returning to the article. According to parade goer Colin Lalaban, Many took the group up on the offer. Quote, "It was so genuine and most of us got teary-eyed when we saw them." The demonstration was part of the church's I'm Sorry campaign, through which members seek to apologize on behalf of their fellow Christians for the way biblical writings have been used against the LGBT community. In a statement on its Facebook page, the church wrote, quote, "We do not need the recognition of people, but the heartwarming response of those who accepted our sincere apologies motivates and encourages us to continue doing this mission of our church." Labalan thinks the act means an exceptional amount to the Filipino LGBT community, which has often been at odds with the nation's heavily Catholic culture. Quote, "It was just so empowering to have that kind of support from the very people who shunned us away."
Other people cannot empower you, you idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure I care. Like, this is not even interesting to me at all.
Well, it is to me because I talk about forgiveness a lot. And that was the main theme of what was going on here, or what I was seeing earlier.
Sure, but that's
forgiving.
their problem. I don't necessarily know that it matters.
Well, that's exactly it.
You know,
they're like, "Oh, well, we forgive you now." I was like, but if you're waiting around for someone to apologize before you forgive them, then you don't understand apologies or forgiveness.
That's a fair statement. And speaking for the people that you are supposed to be apologizing to is usually not the way to go about an apology.
True.
Now, the part of this article that hits me as a Christian is the statement about the way biblical writings have been used against the LGBT community. See, there is absolutely nothing in Scripture that requires you to be a jerk to someone just because they're a sinner.
Well,
however,
depends on how back into the Bible you want to go. I mean, Leviticus is pretty brutal, man.
Yeah, but that's the people who have already submitted to God's rule, the Jewish people themselves. As far as the moral aspects of it, now
it could use with its own, there is no compulsion in religion line.
Yeah, and then there's you made me lose my train of thought. So there's a flip side to this, though, and that is that you can't change the fact of Christian scripture, which is that homosexual acts are sinful in the eyes of God. And
one of their signs that I did like was the fact that we treated you as a sex act, and in actuality, you're a child of God, which is. It seems like it would be more of a Christian way of actually looking at it.
It's both, Everyone is a special creation of God. Not everyone does the things God wants them to do, and not everyone refrains from the things God wants them to refrain from. And there's the problem that I have is that there has been an effort to whitewash out of the Bible the things the Bible says about sex. And it's really not just limited to the LGBT side of things. Yeah, the
Didn't you
reality
recently
of
make
it.
the case that Paul was possibly homosexual?
I have a pretty strong impression of that, and there have been a lot of scholars who have argued that. He refers to having a thorn in his own side, like a repeated sin that he's struggled with. He was known to be celibate his entire life and never married, and says many times, if God has put you in a position not to marry, then don't force yourself into it. And he's speaking for himself and for people who are like him. And whether that means he's simply he was asexual, or whether it means he was naturally homosexual and was denying himself homosexual acts because that's not part of God's plan for sex. Either way, he was if you accept that reading of the New Testament, he would have been a person struggling with that brand of sin who was denying himself sinful acts. But that's
I think what you just said is entirely correct. It's about a particular brand of sin, and the tendency of Christians here to demonize one particular sin when, according to the Bible itself, everyone is guilty.
Yeah, and I see it going the other way, unfortunately. And it has started not really with LGBT acceptance. It started with acceptance of heterosexual sex outside of marriage, like it's a normal part of life when, in the Christian ethos, it's the exact same. Like, sex outside of monogamous heterosexual marriage is sex outside of monosexual monogamous heterosexual marriage. It's all sinful in the eyes of God according to the Christian Bible. And on the one hand, there has been an overemphasis on the LGBT side of that. On the other hand, there has been an underemphasis on the heterosexual side of that. We can talk more about what I mean by that when we get back here, but the bottom line is you can be nice to people even though they're sinners, but that doesn't erase what the Bible says about the sin. So when we get back here on the Call to Freedom on Liberty Radio Network, Aria DeBetso, Chris Wade, and myself, Tom Gray, will continue tackling this issue. Please join us after the break.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money. My safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive.
It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. Joining me in the studio today, of course, is Chris Wade of Think Penguin. We have actually got Daryl Perry sitting here as well. He's not on there, though. And joining us from the mountains of East Tennessee, we decided yesterday we're at a nexus of the... I don't remember, Tom. What mountains? The Smoky Mountains
really
and something else?
Yeah, the Great Smokies to the south, and the Blue Ridge to the north.
Blue Ridge, that's it. I'm never going to remember that, though. Well, we were talking a moment ago about the recent act in the Philippines of this, I guess they're a Catholic church. Did it say their denomination?
It sounds actually like it's Protestant. The country is mostly Catholic, at least as far as the Christians in country go, and that's the case in most of our
imperial colonies.
Most of Europe's.
They've apologized to the LGBTQ community in the Philippines for the way that they have treated them,
which, as Will has told us before, is pretty sizable there.
With the Catholic population?
No, the LGBT community compared to the rest of.
Oh yeah,
South
if you want to bang a trans Filipino hooker, or I mean a trans hooker, the Philippines is the place to go, no doubt.
Speaking from experience, there are you?
It's just common knowledge, man.
Common.
I have a lot of family in the Philippines, and that's. Let's leave it at that.
Of course.
Anyway, awkward.
So what I was talking about before the break, though, is this issue of Christians wanting to make nice while denying what the Bible actually says.
Yeah, I noticed their signs refer to them as hiding behind their religion, and I don't think that's really the case. They were just embracing the darker aspects of their religion and not acknowledging the better aspects.
Right, because when you go and say, well, people were using the Bible to hurt others, that might be true or it might not be. You can't help that people are hurt by truth. And for Christians, we believe the Bible to be absolute truth. And
well, that's kind of a common refrain on our show, is that, the truth upsets people, but they just kind of have to deal with it.
Right.
But you have a point. For the Christian, the Bible is the truth.
And you can be kind to people even if the Bible says that they are sinners. And in fact, you should be.
I mean, because the Bible says everybody is a sinner, and to be nice to people.
Mm-hmm. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's not a huge logical leap. No, it's not. And it's a hard pill for some people to swallow, obviously. But that's more a sign of their character flaw.
Yeah, it's not about the religion at all. It's about the person expressing the hatred.
So, for instance, on this sign, there's a thing that says, "I'm sorry, I've rejected and hurt your family in the name of family values." Well, no. Because why were you projecting your family values upon a family that wasn't yours in the first place? There's nothing in the Bible that requires you to do that. That was your personal character flaw, and it has nothing to do with your faith. I'm sorry. I'm
pretty familiar with the Bible, but sorry to interrupt you. But not extensively. Okay. I'm an atheist, as we've talked about before. But I'm not sure of any part of the Bible that, condones hurting other people's families in the name of anything.
No, it doesn't. In fact, there's another, and on this sign it says, "I'm sorry for judging you." That might be legit, but here's the thing. What the New Testament says about judgmentalism is essentially that you can't judge people who aren't willingly submitting to God's law by God's law. People who are submitting to it, you're supposed to judge them by it, because you shall know them by their fruits. And when you're weighing whether someone is properly following the faith, you weigh them against what the Bible says about what Christians are supposed to do. So this whole thing of don't judge is usually badly misapplied. Here it might
it's
be
actually
properly applied.
Don't judge people who aren't living according to your codes and standards.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of a tautology.
Judge not lest ye be judged is how it goes. But that's, if people have voluntarily submitted to God's law, that's a completely different thing. Then it's not you judging them, it's them telling you I am X, and you saying, well, X does Y, Z, and double A and double B, and you're not doing Y and Z, or you're doing the opposite of it. That's not only permissible, but required judgment of Christians on other Christians. Now, using the Bible to judge someone else's behavior, that's counterproductive, because even if they were behaving properly, if they didn't accept Christ by the Christian ethos, they're not any more saved than someone who's willingly defying God's law. It's not about behavior, it's about where the behavioral standard comes from in Christianity.
Tom, we have a related question on Twitch. If you're probably the only person with the knowledge and experience in order to answer it.
Sure.
Are there still Christian fundings going to LGBT groups? Because most of them, according to someone on Twitch, funnel money to things like, Pray the Gay Away camps and things of that nature.
Do those still exist?
Oh, yes, they exist. I was thrown into one from 12 to 15.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You were in one?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
3 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't know if we've gotten into it very deeply. It might not be something you're willing to talk about, but there's definitely...
I wrote a book about it.
Did you?
Dancing in Hellfire. Available on Amazon. Buy the digital version.
Yeah, she makes more money off of that one.
Yeah. Even though the paperback is more expensive.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep. All about the margins. Making money, by the way. Totally biblical. Despite what some others might tell you. So, I'm sure that there are churches that fund all sorts of things, some of them biblical, some of them not. You'd have to evaluate individual programs and individual camps, but the overwhelming science has shown that even for someone who is a Christian, that the kind of techniques that they use at those camps are not going to be effective. Well, ultimately, if you're
better than what the Amish do.
What do the Amish do?
Well, they have their little. They're essentially Pray the Gay Away camps, except they're a bit more harsh because you're kind of compelled to go there, and no one really cares that you end up there for the rest of your life. It's pretty brutal.
It's the no one really cares part that's the real problem.
Yeah, they beat you and just drill the Bible into your head until you go insane or you're magically
sometimes
cured.
Literally. Yeah, I would be very afraid that there would be some literal drilling going on.
Yeah.
But I guess the question was, are there still churches that fund those sorts of things? And the answer is yes. And I consider them to be errant in doing so. But then on the other hand, you've got something on here. I've looked at you as a sex act instead of a child of God. Well, you can be both. You can look at both in a person. But really,
well, I think what they mean by that is that they were looking at LGBT people as, defined solely by their orientation or their sexual behavior, rather than as human beings with one particular inclination or another.
Yeah, and you can't define someone wholly by that. I mean, it's an important part of one's identity, but looking at a whole person and loving a whole person is ultimately the Christian thing to do.
Yeah, didn't we talk to a pretender of being Chris Cantwell recently about that on Discord? Who was saying something about...
I wasn't paying much attention to him.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's easy to... then we found out it wasn't really Chris Cantwell anyway. That was so disappointing. It was. But we'll be back and we'll move on to a different aspect of the news. Apparently, Mexico wants to impose retaliatory tariffs on dozens.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
The easiest thing in the world for a reader to do is to stop reading, according to the late, great Barney Kilgore, who became managing editor of the Wall Street Journal in 1941 and grew the paper's circulation from 33,000 to 1 million by the 60s. And he'd be pleased to know that his paper is one of the few that people now pay to read online. Someone else pre-internet who realized that attention is fragile? Motown Records founder Berry Gordy. In the early 60s, when his label dominated the charts, he'd bring a dozen real people into the Hitsville, USA studios and audition songs. And he'd ask, if you were down to your last dollar, would you spend it on this record or would you buy a sandwich? Today, attention span seems like an oxymoron. For tips on cutting through the clutter, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
It's hard.
I like
Giggity.
letting that one go because I know you're just going to start bursting out singing. So,
What?
welcome back.
It's our song, Arya.
Is it?
Yeah. I decided this unilaterally.
Apparently.
See?
Well, Mexico, in other news, has imposed retaliatory tariffs on dozens of U.S. goods.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, right.
Who saw that coming other than every economist in the country?
Well, anybody. According to Politico, Mexico on Thursday began imposing its second stage of retaliatory tariffs on dozens of U.S. goods in response to President Donald Trump's duties on Mexican steel and aluminum exports to the U.S. The tariffs complete Mexico's two-part retaliation on almost $3 billion worth of U.S. products. The Mexican government, which first announced its retaliation list last month, started the action on June the 5th by eliminating preferential tariffs established under NAFTA on a number of products, including pork, potatoes, and whiskey. Who buys whiskey from Mexico?
I guess if you're buying tequila and you want to put in a bulk order.
Okay, tequila. Fair enough. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Most of Mexico's retaliatory tariffs will be imposed on U.S. agricultural exports, such as apples, cranberries, and various cheeses. In other words, the agricultural industry already being hurt by tariffs with China, and that are already being squeezed to death by a number of other Trump policies, even though they love Trump as he bleeds them dry.
You know, could this be a good thing? I mean, don't we produce too much of this stuff as it is? Because of subsidies and stuff?
We always need more cranberries. I have no idea. I know we throw away a lot of food, so...
Yeah. I mean, I was under the impression that, like, we produce too much.
That's usually after it's changed hands quite a bit that it gets thrown away.
Well, when I lived in Mississippi, it was right across the street from a cornfield that the guy there grew corn every single year, and it rotted and died every single year. And he didn't care because he was paid to do it by the American government.
Right. That's why I'm just thinking, like, this maybe be a good thing?
I mean, he certainly stripped that land bare. Nothing will grow there for years.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you have to rotate your crops, and he never did. It was just corn year after year after year. But
it's not going to stop the waste, if that's what you mean.
No.
I mean,
only burning down the White House will stop the waste.
Ooh.
Yeah, that wouldn't do it because, you know, Congress is right across the street.
Yeah.
We'd have to Molotov that one as well. Well, Mexico's retaliation comes after the Trump administration decided in May to end its exemptions to the tariffs on steel and aluminum for U.S. allies, such as Canada and the European Union. Canada and the EU have also pursued retaliatory tariffs on a total of almost $16 billion worth of U.S. goods, such as peanut butter and kitchenware. See, now we know the EU is finally going to collapse. No American peanut butter. Whatever will they do?
It's pretty important stuff, that peanut butter.
I mean,
ask my kids.
Now, how are they going to get Skippy peanut butter? Just forget Brexit. This is the crisis of the millennium. Yeah. Trump's steel tariffs add to the growing trade tensions between the U.S. and Mexico that Mexico's president-elect, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, will have to deal with in the coming months when he takes office on December the 1st. Lopez has not directly addressed Trump's tariffs, but has repeatedly said that he wants to avoid a trade war with the U.S., given its importance to Mexico consumers and producers. I think they misspelled due to its reliance on American dollars.
Oh.
The leftist former Mexico City mayor has also said he wants to have a relationship built on mutual respect with Trump, but it's unlikely that Trump's trade policy will go a long way toward harboring close ties with Lopez Obrador, because Trump doesn't respect anyone who is brown.
So, wait a minute. So these are policies, right? Trade policies.
Right.
Like, aren't there laws and things and like treaties and things that like have to be approved by Congress?
I think. I mean, strictly speaking, yes. I don't think the president has the authority to slap tariffs on anyone. Isn't it Congress, Tom, that has the
Congress
authority?
has delegated authority, my friends. Delegated authority.
Well, see, that's not at all true because, okay, I used to be married, right? And my wife gave me permission to sleep with her, but I couldn't delegate that permission to someone else just because we gave Congress the permission to legislate tariffs doesn't mean they can give it to someone else. That's an entirely different ballgame.
Well, unfortunately, Congress and
they
the federal
disagree.
government
Of course they do.
They're even more dysfunctional than your previous marriage was.
That took 200 years of government growth to accomplish, though. So I don't know if that's good on me or good on them.
I doubt it took that long.
It didn't even take that long. If you look at the Alien and Sedition Acts, it took all of like 2 or 3 years.
Did it really?
Yep. But pretty much as soon as George Washington was gone, the whole system went to pot. It was already going.
Didn't Thomas Jefferson put some effort into trying to undo the damage?
Well, the damage done by the last guy, and he put his own damage in, and that's been the cycle ever since.
Watch what you say about Jefferson. I'm kidding.
You got a thing for Jefferson?
As far as founding fathers go, he's probably the most libertarian among them.
Yeah, tell that to his slaves, especially the sex slave.
Hey, look, I'm not going to apply modern cultural norms to the 18th century.
I am.
I hear you are, and I think you're incorrect.
Yeah, I think you make a point, Arya, in that regard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, well, okay. Then prepare to be judged 500 years from now when people have finally realized that slaughtering and enslaving animals that aren't human is immoral, and you're judged by people 500 years from now who say
it's not so much.
I'll be dead by
Tom
then.
Gray was an evil murderer.
It's not so much
imprisoned
that
animals and slaughtered them and wore them on his skin.
Nobody's gonna know who I was. Come on now.
It's not so much that it's wrong. Like, it was wrong, but they didn't necessarily see it as like the same way, or like the level of wrongness maybe.
Well, they saw, everyone who wasn't white the exact same way that we see non-human animals today.
Yeah.
They're lesser creatures. That's how we see animals today. And that's how they saw.
I eat meat, man.
That's how. Yeah, I do too. I don't have the discipline to not eat meat, but I know when I do that it's morally wrong, and I have no way to justify it.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm justified in eating meat, but I do.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm justified. It's delicious.
Well, hey, you're a Christian. I mean, your Bible tells you to.
Yep. Although, if you want to go way back, the Bible actually strongly suggests that before the fall of man, that eating flesh was not a thing that humans or animals did for that little brief period. That was something that was a result of sin.
I don't recall that part of the Bible.
It's one of those deeper things you get into there in Genesis.
Interesting. Well, back to tariffs, I suppose. Former Commerce Secretary Carlos Gutierrez called the tariffs part of a gun-to-the-head negotiating style, thus only making it more difficult for Mexico and Canada to agree to something without committing suicide domestically. And I think that's kind of the point that Trump, as awful and despicable as he is actually trying to make, is that we're the United States. However screwed up we are, we're still the economic powerhouse of the world. If we slap you just can't slap tariffs on us the way that we can on everyone else. And of course, we'll destroy ourselves doing it. But it will take a lot longer than it will for Mexico. We don't need to import from Mexico, but they do need to import from us. All we need from Mexico are drugs. I mean, really, that's our primary import from Mexico.
I don't know, man. I feel like we import a lot of stuff from other countries too.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, especially China.
Yeah, but as long as the dollar is the world currency, or the world's what word am I looking for? The reserve. Well, it's the reserve currency. That's not.
The reserve currency of the world. Yeah.
Is that what I'm looking for? Yeah. Well, as long as that's the case, then people will always want our dollars. I mean, it won't be the case forever because they're going to realize that the only things we export are death and sheets of paper, and guns and bombs and murder. American things. Well, we'll be back shortly with the Crypto Hour. There's been some interesting developments. Israel has decided to tax local exchanges. But in even bigger news, We're being told that complicated crypto purchasing puts off U.S. investors.
Free Talk Live.
Having spent 8 years, 6 months, and 21 days of my life in the Florida State prison system, I'm going to say that the incidences of rape are much, much exaggerated in the media. I'm sure it happened.
It makes for interesting television shows.
Yeah. I mean, all the things that I've seen on Oz, I saw in prison, but I was there for 9 years. So, if I saw one incidence of violence where somebody got their ear bit off, okay, it didn't happen every episode.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, it is a public perception, though, and people, it's almost a joke, or it's like a wink and a nod.
Yeah, sure.
Bubba is going to get you when you go to prison.
That's exactly the idea. As though sodomy somehow fixes people's broken minds. Right. That's not where they're putting that thing. So I mean, it's not gonna jostle anything around and fix it.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 5th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $19, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,650. Antiwar.com reports in August of 2017, President Trump surprised many by openly talking about the idea of launching a military attack on Venezuela. The public talk of this did not last long, and it's been all but forgotten, but not forgotten by President Trump. Aides say that since August, President Trump has repeatedly pushed aides on the matter, and that a number of different cabinet members have had to take turns trying to talk Trump out of the idea. They have succeeded so far, but Trump has not dropped the idea. Of course, there's no congressional authorization or anything resembling it on the books authorizing the U.S. invasion of Venezuela. This did not appear to faze Trump, however, and he argued to his cabinet that Venezuela was a threat to regional security, so he should just invade and be done with it. This shocked members of his cabinet, including former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. They were both opposed to the idea, but it's less clear if their successors, Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, would have a problem with this sort of unprovoked U.S. attack. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports a woman was arrested Wednesday after she climbed the Statue of Liberty to protest the Trump administration's immigration policies, according to officials. Therese Patricia Okamo was part of a previous protest at the base of the Statue of Liberty, where several activists from the New York City-based Rise and Resist, an anti-Trump group, held a banner that said, "Abolish ICE," referring to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. After several people were arrested in that demonstration, Okamo walked to another part of the statue base and refused to move until all the migrant children are released, according to to a New York City Police Department official. NYPD officer Brian Clacken said in a news conference she just kind of mentioned the children in Texas. Several officers tried to persuade her to come down from the statue. Clacken said it took about 3 hours to convince her to get down, and she apologized to officers for having to arrest her. She faces charges of interfering with national park regulations, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. After Okomo's arrest, Rise and Resist distanced itself from her actions. They issued a statement saying, "The person who climbed the Statue of Liberty was one of 40 participants in our planned banner action, but her decision to climb the statue was made independently of the group without consulting any other members of the group. We understand and share her desire to see the immediate release of children from detention and reunion with their parents. We hope that her legal representation will arrange for her release under her own recognizance." The Trump administration has received criticism in recent weeks for its zero-tolerance policy at the U.S.-Mexico border, which involved prosecuting all immigrants who entered the country illegally and, in some cases, separating children from their parents as the case gets moved through federal courts. In response to that criticism, President Donald Trump signed an executive order on June 20th to end the family separating policy, but some families have yet to be reunited. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports U.S. Representative Steny Hoyer, the number 2 Democrat in the House of Representatives, serving as the minority whip, has been hospitalized with pneumonia and is expected to make a quick recovery, according to his office on Wednesday. 79-year-old Hoyer of Maryland was admitted to the George Washington University Hospital on Tuesday and diagnosed with pneumonia, according to spokeswoman Katie Grant. Grant said in a statement, he is being treated with antibiotics and resting and is expected to make a full recovery quickly. Politico, which first reported the hospitalization, said Hoyer had campaigned over the weekend with Democratic incumbents and swing district candidates in Wisconsin and Illinois. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Thank you, Jode. I appreciate you taking up this issue.
Berto, if a man ain't cooked crisp on the Hellfire Desert, ain't he ought to be left on his own?
Well, right, Jode. Immigrants are desperate for a better way of life.
We need the strongest of these crude backward browns to keep us all alive. I see the ones that can swim the Rio Grande, too. Berto, you swum that border river to get here, ain't you?
Jode, not all Mexicans came here by swimming the Rio Grande.
No. I got sympathy. I crossed Huron Lake in the barrel myself using hands as paddles. Lived off the carp. What jumped at me? Now, you swum that river, ain't you?
Jode, actually, I was born here.
What you know about hard work? Ain't never swum no river.
Many immigrants, they
I say you ain't never know the man till you seen his teeth. Show him your teeth. Too many teeth rotting out shows you're dishonest in the mind. You got strong manful teeth, Barto. I apologize.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hold. Hold. Hold!
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, on the Call to Freedom.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live, as always, from the Zencash studio. Joining me today is Chris Wade of Think Penguin and Tom Gray, our legal mind, broadcasting from East Tennessee. And welcome to the Crypto Hour, brought to you by motionproject.org. Motion is a cryptocurrency project designed to facilitate the creation and the promotion of other cryptocurrency projects. It's essentially the GoFundMe of cryptocurrencies, and we are, in fact, giving away 10 Motion coins every single day. So if you would like to win your free 10 Motion coins, give us a call at 603-357-9265. All you have to do is install the wallet and receive your coins. And today in the news, we happen to have Ripple, or as we like to call it, fedcoin.gov. Its CEO is facing another securities fraud lawsuit.
Another one.
Yep, this is number 3, according to news.bitcoin.com.
All right, so this is not criminal.
No.
It's a civil case.
It sounds that way. In 28 pages, the class action suit attempts to make the case that XRP is a security issued, maintained, and supported by Ripple in clear violation of U.S. regulatory laws. I love that those regulations that it's trying so hard to get on its knees in front of the government for are now spraying it in the face.
Yeah, right?
Double giggity.
Ripple has worked extremely hard to distance itself from its cryptocurrency in hopes of avoiding just this scenario. Oh my goodness, that's a pointless sentence. Signed by fax late June of this year in the San Mateo, California Superior Court. It's more than 2 pages, pages set about making the case that Ripple is in clear violation of the Howey test. Tom, do you know anything about the Howey test?
How's it spelled? I'll look it up real quick.
Here we are. Oh, with a nice little picture of Rick and Morty.
Sounds like something I've heard before.
Yeah. Apparently, it's this. Does XRP have speculative investors who hope for profits that are at the whim of a third party? Is that it? It's HOWEY, Tom.
Yeah, it's Securities and Exchange Commission versus H.J. Howey Company. Has to do with determining whether transactions qualify as investment contracts for purposes of the Securities and Exchange Act.
Okay.
Wait, but there was
obscure. Let's put it that way.
But there wasn't. There's no contract, right? So.
Well, what it specifically.
Contract?
Yeah, what it specifically is whether to determine if something, for purposes of federal law, qualifies as an investment contract.
So is it kind of saying
but it's
that
not even a
they're
contract,
investing in Ripple, hoping to make money in XRP, and the way that they invest in Ripple is through purchasing XRP?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what it is.
Evidently, previous Ripple CEO was, for a short time, considered wealthier than Bill Gates.
Whoa.
That was probably never accurate at all. But
yeah,
whatever
it's
makes
from
you feel better.
Bitcoin.com, so no, it's probably not accurate.
Womp womp.
At least they didn't phrase it stupidly. But this is the third such lawsuit filed against the company since early May of this year. A common theme between each suit is the claim that XRP is a security as defined under U.S. regulatory statute, which insists Ripple Labs is the token's puppet master indistinguishable from XRP itself. The Aachener version leans heavily on making a case for a Howey test violation. Ripple isn't taking any of the suits lightly, hiring 2 former U.S. Security and Exchange Commission heavies, Andrew Koresny and Mary Jo White, as lead counsel. XRP has long been held in a controversial light because of its origin story and because of how it got on its knees and started sucking the government.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, they're as bad as Coinbase.
Yep. The worse than Coinbase, probably, I would say.
Yeah. Don't tell Steven, though. We made him mad at PorkFest about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
He'll live.
He's on the board.
Oh, still?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think he said he was still on the board.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Because we talked about it. He asked me what my issues with Ripple were. And, he explained that the government came after them, so they did what Coinbase did. They got on their knees and said, they bent over and asked, to lube up.
Yeah.
At least.
So basically he's saying, I don't do that thing that you've accused me of. I just do that thing you've accused me of.
Yeah. Well, he painted it as, that they didn't really have a choice if they wanted to do business in the U.S. and avoid a possible prison sentence, similar to Coinbase.
If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Yeah.
Just saying.
While leading cryptos were to be mined on a chain, Ripple's appeared ex nihilo, with more than 60% still held by its parent company. If deemed a security, the company would be most likely ordered to cease all trading, and it's not unusual to presume holders would be given the chance at refunds. Violations of securities laws, what's more, can also be prosecuted criminally, though those in the know believe it will not get to that stage. Tom, do you know anything about U.S. securities laws and how Ripple may have come in violation of them?
Not a ton, but basically here's the central question with all of these suits. Are people using cryptocurrencies as currencies, or are they using them like property that you would hold with the intent of gaining money because the property itself gains value?
Well, both, and the two goals.
But what gives it value in the first place? Is it the spending? Because if it's used as a currency, then
it's solely the demand.
Then that's the question in the suits. I mean, to a certain extent, the value of a stock that has no voting rights attached to it and no dividends attached to it is also the demand. And
yeah, and we could use stocks as currency if they were standardized enough. I will trade you like 10 stocks of Exxon for your vehicle or whatever. Except cryptocurrencies are designed. I mean, stocks aren't easily split and easily transferred in the same way that cryptocurrencies are, or currencies in general.
I mean, it's.
I don't want to make fun of you, Arya, but the phrase 10 stocks of Exxon
10 shares. You know what I meant.
It still cracks me.
Look, man, I do my stock purchasing through Acorns, so I don't need to know the technicalities of it. I just need to know how much money it's made me.
That's entirely true.
And when it made it.
Yes, you are right about that. I just can't help but laugh. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Oh.
In other news, complicated crypto purchasing puts off investors, also from Bitcoin.com. Analysis confirms. And I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, what do they mean puts off investors?
Well, I would agree that it can be hard to understand how to spend cryptos. And I think that's what they're getting at. But it's not any harder to understand to use cryptos than it is to understand to use a debit card with a PIN number attached to it.
It sounds like it puts off certain investors, right? Like, because they're probably talking, I'm thinking they're probably talking about its fluctuation, its price fluctuation. It's not stable. But
well, it says here that I guess we'll get back to it.
Yeah, when we get back.
But it's an interesting article, and it goes on to say that acquiring the cryptocurrencies is rather complicated, which is total crap considering Coinbase exists and is super easy to use.
And it's not just Coinbase, there's others.
Yeah, there's Kraken, Yobit.
Yeah, there's also vending machines, crypto vending machines.
If you're lucky. And if you live in an awesome crypto
we got 3 in Keene.
Right. We do, and there is nothing difficult about going up to one with a couple of 20s and buying some Bitcoin.
It's not that hard to accept either.
No, it's not. I mean, and once they
Install
accept
a lot
Bitcoin,
on your phone.
they accept Dash.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom. Live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in Keene, New Hampshire, and we're discussing cryptocurrencies during the Crypto Hour. And we have interesting news, as we were talking about before we were going to the break, about potential investors finding the process of acquiring cryptocurrencies to be rather complicated, according to a new study conducted among U.S. residents. The country where it is easiest in the world to buy cryptocurrencies.
New Hampshire.
Well, that's a state, not a country.
I'm
so
hoping.
Far, yeah.
I'm hoping.
Hopefully. Despite that finding, it's just bizarre that, you know, this is the country throughout the world where it is easiest to acquire cryptocurrencies. I mean, we have 73% of the Bitcoin ATMs in the world.
Do we?
Yeah, like 22% are in the European Union and another 5% are scattered throughout the rest of the world. I mean, this is by far the easiest place to get them. And it's too complicated, according to U.S. residents. Despite that finding and other obstacles, Another study confirms the recently reported increase in capital raised through coin offerings this year. Also in today's, those two bits of information are why so many ICO scams exist. The complicated the process of purchasing cryptocurrencies is the biggest obstacle for new investors entering the crypto space, according to a recently released study. The authors polled 1,000 U.S. residents to profile crypto holders and better understand how they are using their digital coins. The poll also attempted to gauge the cultural perceptions surrounding cryptocurrency ownership. I mean, this sounds like data that we're going to want to dive into. According to the compiled data, almost 40% of millennials have confirmed owning cryptocurrency, 48% of males, and 26% among females.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. At the same time, 24% of polled Generation X Americans and 15% of baby boomers also admitted owning Bitcoin or any of its alternatives. Look, I know you're Bitcoin.com, but other cryptocurrencies are not defined by Bitcoin. They're not alternatives to Bitcoin. The survey conducted by Credit Coin made other interesting findings.
I could feel you cringing as you read that. Wow.
Yeah.
Like clenching yourself.
But they made interesting findings regarding a possible connection between cryptocurrencies and personal relationships. 3/4 of the questioned stated that 3/4 of the questioned stated that they would be more likely to date someone who is knowledgeable. Who is knowledgeable about cryptocurrency. They really need to hire an editor on this site. Many of them, however, remain reserved about dating someone who is obsessed with cryptos. This is why many libertarians won't date libertarians. The majority said they would date a divorced person rather than someone who keeps all their savings in cryptocurrency. Well, someone who keeps all their savings in cryptocurrency doesn't need to be getting married. That's not a good decision. Right, Tom?
I didn't know it was still a taboo among anyone but the most conservative of conservative Christians to date someone who was previously divorced.
Well, I think the connotations there is actually that the divorced person is far more likely to have children than a person who had never been married. And I think the reservation there would be about, dating someone who had children rather than someone who used to have been married. I mean, they're practiced in marriage. That makes them better to marry, right? They've had practice.
I mean, there are people who have played football in the NFL for 3 years that aren't any good at it. Tim Tebow. Isn't
it also the case that people in our generation, the millennial generation, are less likely to get married a second time? And most of them have said, they never intend to marry again.
Definitely some of that, yes.
I think we discussed that once. But nevertheless, over half of the respondents believe that they would have about 10% of their savings in cryptocurrency in the next decade. It's a currency, not a stock, not an asset. When asked what they would do if given $10,000, almost 40% said they would buy cryptocurrency.
Who are they asking? I mean, like, what's the group?
1,000 random Americans among millennials, Generation X, and baby boomers. Well, I was getting that. Rather than invest in a down payment on a house, 33%, or a car, 28%. See, they're not looking at cryptocurrency. And this is from Bitcoin.com, comparing owning cryptocurrencies to buying a house or buying a car. I don't think they know what currency means.
It doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I understand having cryptocurrency, right? That makes sense to me because it's convenient to spend and stuff, but you can't
really be mugged.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody, maybe you could be mugged. I mean, if somebody puts a gun to your head and says, "Give me your crypto," I'm probably going to share my password.
That's true of banks as well, though. And that's how we developed the banking institution and this easily transferable money or checks, if you will.
I mean, on the other hand, I also wouldn't necessarily have all my crypto on my phone, right? Like, so if I was mugged, just like I wouldn't have all my cash in my pocket, some of it would be in a bank.
Yeah. I don't know. Coinami makes it really convenient to just keep it all right there in one spot.
That seems like a bad idea to me. Just like I wouldn't put all my value or assets in crypto. I wouldn't do it in a house. I wouldn't do it in a car. I wouldn't do it in, stock. I would spread it out because that's what a wise investor does.
Not in a house, not in a mouse, not here, not there, not anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I made a poor decision a year or two ago and had all of my cryptos on a laptop that I encrypted and encrypted the backups of and left the private key.
Forget the password.
On the desktop in a text file that I never moved off of it.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to PortFest last year.
Yeah.
And water damage destroyed that hard drive.
Uh-huh.
And when I came back, I realized that I never moved the key off of the encrypted drive.
Uh-huh.
And that now that I needed to decrypt it, I had no way of doing it.
Yikes.
Oh, it was a mess. I'm still not happy about it.
Womp.
Yeah. The authors point out that this year's total... Oh, sorry.
But you know what? You need the Edge wallet.
Edge?
Edge, yeah, it encrypts it and then it uploads it to a server. So you still need a password for it, but you don't if your phone.
Well, Konami does that now, and I just have my old Galaxy S5 with Konami installed on it solely for that purpose.
Yeah, it certainly makes holding cryptocurrencies much easier, I think, for their average
you
user.
can't carry around a laptop and be like, okay, yeah, sure, here, let me tell you.
Oh, I did. I did that at PortFest one year.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's not convenient though.
It's not at all convenient. Yeah.
And then laptop batteries don't last nearly as long as phone batteries. Well, if you have a Galaxy S7, you can forget your phone battery lasting more than 15 minutes. But other than that, phones generally last longer than laptops.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, we should probably talk about how to keep your cryptocurrencies from being lost when we get back from the break.
I'm sure we have lots of experiences of losing them, so we could definitely explain how not to.
We have become experts in losing cryptocurrency.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in Keene, New Hampshire. Joining me, of course, is Chris Wade of Think Penguin. And joining remotely from East Tennessee, our legal mind, Tom Gray. And before we went to the break, we were talking about how the stupid decisions we have made that caused us to lose cryptocurrencies. And I think it would be a good idea, since what we want to do is facilitate the usage and promotion of cryptocurrency among ordinary people, to actually briefly discuss, perhaps acquiring cryptocurrencies in the easiest and most effective and safest manner, and then not losing them. So, obviously, there are a number of ways to get cryptocurrencies today, whether a Bitcoin ATM, as Chris was talking about earlier, if you're lucky enough to be in an area that has them, and that's not going to be very many people. Most people are going to have to use Coinbase or Kraken or some other exchange like that.
There's a lot more vending machines these days than there used to be. I don't know, I don't know what the numbers are, but you probably have one closer to you than you think, I suspect, in most places.
There was one in Memphis, Tennessee, that I was surprised to find out about before I moved up here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be, if you have to drive a city away or something like that, may not be that super convenient, but there are a lot of them out there.
There are 3,433 throughout the world.
So, I mean, just to give some people an idea, there's about 2,000 T-Mobile stores. So, wow. I mean, that's enough.
Yeah, but T-Mobile sucks.
That's not the point. The point I'm making is that simply there's enough for basically one in every town.
That's true.
Or any town of significance. So that's quite a few vending machines. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there's they're not evenly distributed, so you may not have one in your town. But
this U.S. map is really interesting. There are 1,077 up here near us in New England.
Okay.
I assume New York has 0. I'm assuming, because they're pretty hostile to cryptos.
They are. And maybe that's the problem. So all the
West Coast California has only 97.
West Coast California, 97. Wow.
The Southwest area, Nevada, New Mexico, has 690.
Okay.
The Southeast looks like the coastal areas have 568. I mean, that's incredible compared to the 5 total in Africa, or the 40 total in South America.
That's it? They've got 5 for all of Africa?
5 for all of Africa.
Not like South Africa, but Africa.
There are 3 in South Africa.
The continent.
And 2 in, I can't see the name of that country, just below Kenya. And that's it. 5.
Interesting.
Iraq, or somewhere else in the Iraq area, has 8.
Interesting.
The German area, Poland, all of those. Austria has 487. The United Kingdom and France area has 156. Other than that, yeah, I mean, there's 6 across all of Siberia. 6.
Well, Siberia, though, doesn't have a population of, like, anything, right?
Yeah, no, but it's a vast, vast amount of land. I mean,
it is, but if there's no people, I wouldn't expect there to be many vending
larger than the
machines, if
US.
any. I mean, if you said Russia, like, okay, that's cool because there's actually people in Russia. It's very, very small relative to the land area, but
Well, it looks like Russia may have a total of 9.
really, that's it?
Yeah, and that's assuming that this 2 here is coming from Mongolia and not Russia.
Huh.
Wow. So yeah, you're in the United States and you're complaining about how hard it is to get cryptos. And we have this big red dot here that says 1,077, and Russia has this little green circle over here that says 2.
Now, it would be interesting to compare the populations of Russia versus the United States.
Tom, do you know the population of Russia? I assume it's got to be pretty similar, perhaps even larger. Are you even there, Tom?
Let's see if I can bring it up on my phone or computer.
Tom is not there. Oh, it's about half, 144 million. So
yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And I just closed out of it. Oh well, nobody wanted to hear me reading stats about Bitcoin ATMs anyway.
If you look at Europe, the population of like Europe is seriously large, but much larger than I would have expected compared to like the United States. But
yeah.
So theoretically, Europe should have a lot more vending machines than the United States, but it's pretty popular.
Yeah,
over
but they're
there, it
so
seems.
regulated over there.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of people
it's like New
who
York,
have it.
except everywhere.
I don't know what the vending rate, but the thing is, we talk about regulations and stuff. There's different regulations for like different things, but I don't necessarily know if that necessarily means that they've got.
We could get Ian in here. He knows. I don't know if he'd want to talk about it.
Does he? Does he know about Europe's regulations as far as vending machines are concerned?
No, but he can give us America's, which at least will provide some perspective on Europe's. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that big a deal. I mean, we're in America though. And even if you don't have Bitcoin ATMs, which you probably do because there's more than 2,000 scattered throughout the country, all throughout the country, then you don't need a Bitcoin ATM to use Coinbase.
Now, if we compare it to cash ATM machines, then yeah, there's not many.
You can't walk into a store without stubbing your toe in a cash ATM machine and being charged an obscene amount of money for it.
I mean, we're not, certainly cryptocurrencies are not as useful as a currency as it will become as, the years progress.
I want to see the rest of the world become like Keene, New Hampshire.
I want to see it.
I'm having a hard time turning my crypto into cash because crypto is so prevalent.
I don't know why anybody would want to turn their crypto into cash. That's the crazy thing. Like,
is there a gas station around here that accepts crypto?
No.
That's why I need to turn it into cash.
Okay, I understood.
Just for that one thing, and cat food and kitty litter.
There was,
other than that,
yeah. It's we have a lot of restaurants. We have doctors. We have car mechanics. We've got
I bet I could find a place that has kitty litter for sale that accepts crypto. I bet I could.
Oh, I'm sure you could. I mean, if you look online, of course, the problem is it probably is not cost effective to buy online, but you could probably do it. I pay for my car insurance with crypto.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places to spend crypto.
I don't pay for my car insurance because I use this place that you buy it for 1 month and they give you a card that's good for a year. and I trust my driving abilities, and I'm not going to be told by the state that I have to buy something when I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, the point.
Well, so in New Hampshire, though, you don't have to have it. So it's an optional thing for me. Like, I choose to have it. Now,
that's entirely different.
It is beneficial if you go out of state, because if you get pulled over, you won't get into trouble. And I do go out of state. I don't necessarily need to have it on both of my cars, and so as a result that I'm not doing it because I have to have it in other states, or I feel I need to have it. It's because it's because I actually want to.
Well, the way the law is written, it only requires that you be able to prove that you can cover any chance of you being a liability while driving.
In New Hampshire.
Well, no, that's throughout the U.S. They can't tell you have to buy auto insurance. But what they can tell you is, before you do this
we'll need to talk about this more when we get
dangerous thing, you have to be able to prove that if you cause damage, you can cover it. And insurance is the easiest and most effective way of proving it.
That's not my understanding in most states. Some states, that's the case. I know New Hampshire is something like that, and I know it's a little bit different in some other states where you can do some other thing that's not insurance, but sort of like insurance.
Well, I thought the big problem with Obamacare was that, it was the government telling us, hey, you have to buy this thing, and not saying you have to have proof that you can cover yourself. There
is an alternative for Obamacare, but it's only 4 or 5 like non-profits that are allowed to exist, and they have to predate a certain year, and they're all religious. And
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
Oh, that's right. Tom said he thinks he heard a transformer blow, so he's not going to start singing, unfortunately. So turning to other crypto news that Tom actually brought to us, it's this big fat white grumpy dude who says, "Stop trying to create money." BIS chief Carstens on cryptocurrency. Those crazy kids and their bitcoins, when will they ever learn? Thankfully, that's not a direct quote, but it more or less sums up international banking chief Augustine Carstens' thoughts on cryptocurrency, both as a technological development and an economic pursuit. Carstens, the newly christened general manager of the Bank for International Settlements, the so-called central bank's central bank, is on record as one of cryptocurrency's fiercest critics. Earlier this year, for instance, he said that Bitcoin is a bubble, a Ponzi scheme, and an environmental disaster. Speaking recently in an interview with Swiss-German language newspaper Basler Zeitung, Carsten repeated that criticism verbatim, after which he made an earnest plea to the young people promoting it. Stop trying to create money. I love a central banker telling people to stop trying to create money.
It's like, stop trying to compete with me.
Yeah.
Sorry, some people don't like you. They're going to do something else.
And this crap article from CCN, I don't know what that stands for. Let me find it. They don't seem to know either. Okay. Well, even legendary scientist Isaac Newton tried, I would call him a mathematician more than a scientist, and failed to create money out of nothing, he said, and young people should learn from his mistake.
Wait, what?
Young people don't know who Isaac Newton is. I would bet that the average American millennial would have no idea. They're like, isn't that guy who used to be on South Park?
Oh, wow. That's funny.
No, he's the guy who invented those cookies. That's who he is. Those fig cookies.
Oh, yeah. Newtons, yeah. I didn't even remember there was a cookie named that.
Really? I've never cared much for fig Newtons. There are some strawberry ones that I really like.
I was like 4 probably the last time I had one.
Yeah. I mean, figs, they're not a yummy fruit. But here is Carsten's translated remarks. Glance back into the past and you will see that creating gold or money from nothing has been a regular obsession. It never worked. Even the great physicist Isaac Newton was at one point in his life obsessed by alchemy and the idea of making gold. Okay, let me stop you right there.
Wow, not the same thing at all.
No, he was obsessed with turning, with alchemical processes long proven, even in his day, to be crap, of turning other substances into gold. And actually, technically, it is possible, but you need a lot of nuclear fission in order to accomplish it. You won't ever get back the amount of gold to make it pay for itself. He was very successful in a number of fields, but in this one, he failed. Newton ended up as head of the British Mint. Did he really?
I love how they phrase that. He failed, like saying he failed. But did he? I mean, he didn't like achieve the objective, but he found out that it couldn't be done, right? Like, so that's not really failure. That's like the scientific process of
Well, Thomas Edison failed like 600 times to make
right.
a
I mean,
light
that's
bulb,
right.
and
That's
he
just
said,
the process of before you can succeed, you have to fail. I mean,
he didn't say I had failed. He said I successfully learned like 600 and
right.
something ways to not make a light bulb.
It reminds me kind of the AOL guy. I mean, this is totally different. This is now business that we're talking about, but the CEO of AOL, he failed like 8 times before he succeeded, and I'm shocked that they actually kept him around for so long. But once he succeeded wildly. The board figured something like, well, he failed so many times already, we might as well keep him on because he's eventually going to succeed, and he did. And it was a wild successful at AOL. I mean, until
I mean, I had written
things changed.
I think 5 complete books before I finally had one good enough to be published.
Right.
I mean, and I've thrown away far more songs that I've written than I've kept. Far more, like at least 20 to 1.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just the way. And I mean, how many paper currencies have we gone through, fat, grumpy white dude? I mean, really. Every paper currency in human history has collapsed.
And, what's funny is it's kind of one of the good things about cryptocurrencies. It's not just one cryptocurrency. There's lots of them. So,
I'm so divided on that, though, because there's so many that it's so close to market oversaturation.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a good thing because, and I agree that we don't need that many cryptocurrencies, right?
No, we don't need Putin coin and Trump coin.
No,
and
we
Shark
don't.
Coin.
But it creates competition. It's competition in the marketplace, right? For currencies.
But we do need Litecoin, Ethereum, Zencash, Bitcoin.
Yeah, and certain cryptocurrencies do have benefits. Like there are obvious clones that have absolutely no benefits right? But they're probably or hopefully not going to succeed in the market.
UIs.
Yeah, right. Like and so but on the other hand, we do have some cryptocurrencies that have certain advantages. I think Dash has certain advantages. I think Zencash has certain advantages. There are different advantages in certain cases. Like I think Dash has the advantage that AnyPay, it works with AnyPay. It's readily widely expected, at least locally in New Hampshire. On the other hand, I think but the biggest thing about Dash, I think that's got an advantage over like something like say Bitcoin, is that while it doesn't have the first mover advantage, it's got a mechanism to basically promote itself. So I mean that's the big thing I think.
Are you referring to Dashback?
No, I'm not actually, but that's the result of that system.
It's an enormous promotion. I have never used or given a crap about Dash.
Right. Well, but this is
Dashback.
Right. Exactly. And so, I know Dash is kind of promoted as like kind of privacy friendly. I don't think it really is, but okay. But there's also other cryptocurrencies now that are privacy friendly. They do have they have math behind them, right? Like
our own Zencash.
Yeah, like Zencash. There's 4 or 5 of them, and they're all based around Zero Coin. But Zero Coin didn't come out overnight, right? It
Zero proof. Is that the phrase?
Isn't Zero Coin?
Or zero knowledge.
Zero knowledge proof. Yeah, right. But it's called Zero Coin. I think was the project
like
behind it. And it's the math behind it. It's the protocol. Protocol is the right word. I think protocol is the word to put it. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's very confusing because it's called Zero Coin, but it's not a cryptocurrency. It's just
it's an algorithm.
It's the protocol that implements the math behind it, and then that gets added to a blockchain based cryptocurrency to give you a Bitcoin like one at least. It gives you privacy and anonymity and so forth. So
interesting.
But yeah.
The BIS chief, who added that he is concerned by the pace of technological progress. What kind of jerk is concerned by the pace of technological progress? Advised young people to devote their efforts to better pursuits.
Wow.
Banks are trusted, he said. Banks are trusted. He says this to the generation that invented cryptocurrencies because we don't trust banks. I mean, we had on James of Vertcoin, and that was verbatim what he said was why he got into cryptocurrencies, because he was raised in that generation that got totally boned by central banks in 2007. And he said, never again. And here's a technology that will allow us to never have that again.
Yeah.
And this guy is telling us, oh, you have to trust us, young people. I know that we're boning you and we're stealing your savings to pay for ourselves because our grandparents did that to us. And we feel like you can pay for our bills, whether you like it or not. And we'll just keep inflating your currency until, you starve to death and can't buy a loaf of bread because it's $37,000. But see, you won't have to deal with that because you'll push it onto your grandkids.
And what if we don't want to push it onto our grandkids, right? Like,
we'll invent cryptocurrency, and fat old grumpy white dudes will tell us, hey, you can't do that. You're escaping our control. We mustn't have that. I mean, the picture of this guy, he's exactly what you would expect of a fat cat. He is. He's just this fat, grumpy white dude. I mean, he doesn't even have a double chin because it's just one fat mass of face there. I mean, he is exactly what you would expect of a banker telling millennials, trust the banks. Like we didn't just get screwed by them.
I get screwed every month by the bank. I'm sorry, but they take out $25, $50 or whatever from a few different accounts. I'm sick and tired of the banks.
Yep.
And that's not even like significant amounts of money that people have lost as a result of the banks.
Yeah, and in the United Kingdom, they have a law that banks can take up to 25% of the money directly out of your account to pay for its own debts. So it's even worse over there where the BIS chief even matters.
Interesting.
After a flood of customer complaints, Kay Jewelers issued an immediate recall this week of over 2 million cursed engagement and wedding rings. The company's director of public relations released an apology to those afflicted.
I can assure our customers that we were not aware our manufacturers were sourcing diamonds tainted by the darkling Urla. We're strongly recommending customers who have not yet returned their purchases for a full refund to place a mirror in a bowl of black salt, mold a poppet in your image out of clay and your lover's hair, and then burn the poppet in the mirror before the next full moon.
Industry experts are calling this the most egregious safety oversight in jewelry production since 1973, when Zales disturbed the grave of the 16th century sorcerer Maelor.
Sometimes I wake up and I'm trapped in this oil painting of a German village.
They told us that there was a 68% chance that our child would be born with no soul. They sent us this disclaimer suggesting we leave the changeling in the wood and return only at our own peril.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 5th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.05 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,256 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $19, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,650. Antiwar.com reports in August of 2017, President Trump surprised many by openly talking about the idea of launching a military attack on Venezuela. The public talk of this did not last long, and it's been all but forgotten, but not forgotten by President Trump. Aides say that since August, President Trump has repeatedly pushed aides on the matter, and that a number of different cabinet members have had to take turns trying to talk Trump out of the idea. They have succeeded so far, but Trump has not dropped the idea. Of course, there's no congressional authorization or anything resembling it on the books authorizing the U.S. invasion of Venezuela. This did not appear to faze Trump, however, and he argued to his cabinet that Venezuela was a threat to regional security, so he should just invade and be done with it. This shocked members of his cabinet, including former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. They were both opposed to the idea, but it's less clear if their successors, Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, would have a problem with this sort of unprovoked U.S. attack. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. UPI reports a woman was arrested Wednesday after she climbed the Statue of Liberty to protest the Trump administration's immigration policies, according to officials. Therese Patricia Okomo was part of a previous protest at the base of the Statue of Liberty, where several activists from the New York City-based Rise and Resist, an anti-Trump group, held a banner that said, "Abolish ICE," referring to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. After several people were arrested in that demonstration, Okomo walked to another part of the statue base and refused to move until all the migrant children are released, according to a New York City Police Department official. NYPD officer Brian Clacken said in a news conference she just kind of mentioned the children in Texas. Several officers tried to persuade her to come down from the statue. Clacken said it took about 3 hours to convince her to get down, and she apologized to officers for having to arrest her. She faces charges of interfering with national park regulations, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. After Okomo's arrest, Rise and Resist distanced itself from her actions. They issued a statement saying the person who climbed the Statue of Liberty was one of 40 participants in our planned banner action, but her decision to climb the statue was made independently of the group without consulting any other members of the group. We understand and share her desire to see the immediate release of children from detention and reunion with their parents. We hope that her legal representation will arrange for her release under her own recognizance. The Trump administration has received criticism in recent weeks for its zero-tolerance policy at the U.S.-Mexico border, which involved prosecuting all immigrants who entered the country illegally and, in some cases, separating children from their parents as the case gets moved through federal courts. In response to that criticism, President Donald Trump signed an executive order on June 20th to end the family separating policy, but some families have yet to be reunited. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Reuters reports U.S. Representative Steny Hoyer, the number 2 Democrat in the House of Representatives, serving as the minority whip, has been hospitalized with pneumonia and is expected to make a quick recovery, according to his office on Wednesday. 79-year-old Hoyer of Maryland was admitted to the George Washington University Hospital on Tuesday and diagnosed with pneumonia, according to spokeswoman Katie Grant. Grant said in a statement, he is being treated with antibiotics and resting and is expected to make a full recovery quickly. Politico, which first reported the hospitalization, said Hoyer had campaigned over the weekend with Democratic incumbents and swing district candidates in Wisconsin and Illinois. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
It's the Onion Radio News. JCPenney abandons its 45-second sale. This is Doyle Redland reporting. Word came today from JCPenney headquarters in Plano, Texas, that the retail giant will discontinue its 45-second sale. The bargain bonanza, in which all JCPenney merchandise is discounted by 60% for 45 seconds starting at 1 p.m. daily, simply wasn't pulling in enough revenue. CEO Alan Questrom.
The 45-second sale drew very strong customer response, but regrettably, only a handful of shoppers actually got to capitalize on our fantastic prices due to the horrific injuries they sustained during their stampede to the cashier.
Questrom added that plans are in the works to create a longer 2-minute sale intended to give frantic shoppers at least a fighting chance to enjoy incredible store-wide savings. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Joining me in the studio, of course, is Chris. I am Aria DeMezzo. I keep forgetting to mention that.
Yeah, right?
Pretty important.
The most important person in the room, right?
No, not by a long shot. Joining me, of course, is Chris Wade of Think Penguin. And welcome back, Tom Gray from East Tennessee.
Yeah, for now, we'll see if the
So what happened?
I thought I heard a transformer blow, but apparently it was just a momentary power flicker. Those sorts of things happen here. And
it was enough to knock you off?
Yeah, the power flickered all over the house, knocked my computer off for about 5 seconds, and then the internet had to reset, and I had to check all my equipment and all that good stuff. And then calm the kids down because, Ben 10 went off for all of 30 seconds.
My nephew has a similar issue, except that there's been a television on around him his entire life. So when the power goes off and there's no television, his anxiety is so bad that he vomits and cries.
Your dog?
My nephew.
Your nephew?
Beyond.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's probably beyond just the TV's fault. That's...
yeah. Nobody in my family listens to this show, so I can say that. It is not the television's fault. But it's something my nephew is ultimately going to have therapy for because the electricity went out of school, which is the only place he wasn't around a television, and it had the same effect there just because of the psychological conditioning that it's not good. But in honor of yesterday's Independence Day, I've got interesting news about Facebook going over the top with its censorship. Did I send this to you, Tom?
No, or at least I haven't seen it if you did, for obvious reasons.
All right, well, I will send it over right now if you want to take it. It's up to you.
Giggity.
Why did that get a giggity?
If you want to take it.
Okay. Speaking of Thomas Jefferson, Facebook has removed the post with a post with a Declaration of Independence excerpt.
I have heard about this, and I suspect it has more to do with the post that's underneath it, but I haven't read it yet. So let's find out here. So this is from USA Today. Facebook removes post with Declaration of Independence excerpt. The Declaration of Independence is arguably... No, I don't want to subscribe to USA Today. Go away, pop-up. The Declaration of Independence is arguably the most important document in U.S. history. By the way, anybody who argues that is a moron. Don't listen to them about anything. It was also briefly in violation of Facebook standards. Through its Facebook page, The Vindicator, a local paper based in Liberty, Texas, wanted its audience to read the Declaration of Independence. It published a series of daily posts to the social network with excerpts from the document, with the final post going live on July 4th.
Did they post the entire declaration? Because it's pretty long. It's longer than most people think.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still don't know why you'd have to post it in excerpts. Anyway.
Oh, because Twitter has, I think, a 320 character limit now.
This is Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it is Facebook. Well, because they're stupid.
Well, maybe they just got so used to the Twitter's limit that they had to do it on Facebook.
Oh, well, here's what it is.
Well, if it's on Facebook, you have to put it in meme form.
Casey Stinnett, managing editor of The Vindicator, said he believes a portion of the excerpt containing the term Indian savages may have sparked the post removal. Well, yeah, that'll catch the bots.
Really? Especially, Indian savages will catch the bots, you think? No, that had to have been reported.
No, I think it would be enough to catch the bots.
I'm going to find out right now.
Okay.
So
the part of the declaration, it's the list of grievances against King George III, and the relevant portion reads, "He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions." Yeah, so this was the founders' not so latent racism against Native Americans on full display. I can.
Well, it was not a bot.
Well, I mean, was that racist? I mean, if that I mean, what he was saying was true, right?
I would say it was culturist.
Okay.
So there's another.
But I posted Indian
here.
Savages just by itself on Facebook, and no issue.
Okay.
It was reported.
The thing is, I'm looking at it right now on the Vindicator's page. It's from July 2nd. It's right there. So I'm wondering.
Well, it was restored.
It says it was offline briefly. So finishing the story up here. Facebook has said it apologized to the Vindicator for mistakenly deleting the post and has since restored it. Quote, the post was removed by mistake and restored as soon as we looked into it. Read a statement from Facebook. We process millions of reports each week and sometimes we get things wrong. This is not the first time Facebook's enforcement of standards has received pushback. In 2016, Facebook reinstated a Vietnam War-era image of a naked girl fleeing a napalm attack after it was initially removed for violating standards. Again, that I find pretty understandable. Quote, an image of a naked child would normally be presumed to violate our community standards, and in some countries might even qualify as child pornography, Facebook wrote. In this case, we recognize the history and global importance of the image in documenting a particular moment in time.
So child porn's okay as long as it's a significant importance or something to their...
If it's not porn,
so,
if it's like...
So would images of the Japanese rape at Nanking be historically important if we posted them on Facebook?
It's historically important, but it's obviously more it's more lascivious. Oh boy, this is going to be one of the worst bands that you've ever drawn, and that's saying quite a bit, are you? It'd be more lascivious because it would be clearly them showing sexual acts. I'd say would be the ruling there.
This one ought to do it.
Oh no.
Man,
so looking for
I have to say, some of the stuff you've done in the past, I love. See how far you can go. Where is this line?
Well, the how to properly administer what was it? A rectal exam got me banned for 7 days. I couldn't even use Messenger.
Wow!
Like they full banned me.
So anyway, it's. I mean, this is a useful discussion to have, though, because, we just celebrated Independence Day, and it is worthwhile to remember that the founders were not all about independence for everybody, especially not folk of the brown variety.
Well, they weren't even fans of liberty for women.
No, not especially.
We did go through the phrase in human history where we used the word men asexually, but when they said every man is created equal, they meant every dude.
Yep, they did.
But I don't hold to the idea that they had to be perfect in order to be good.
Certainly not.
I mean,
especially considering the alternatives.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know if the term Indian savages is racist within the context that they were using it. I mean,
they absolutely
weren't Indians.
For one thing, yeah.
I mean, they were basically stereotyping a group, but
we traveled across this ocean and we found brown people. So this is India. It doesn't look anything like India. It has no cities of cultural development that we would recognize as Indian, but they're brown, so this has to be India.
And that's the story of America,
which we then took and made a nation on, and then decided that hey, we don't want immigrants coming here, so we're going to separate their families,
which is really hilarious because we're all immigrants.
Exactly.
Sending Sarah.
Well, not hilarious to the kids in cages, but we get what you mean.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's good because we don't have that historical tie to our homeland that caused Germany to start World War I and World War II, which is what they did it for the glory of Germany, that historical ancient pride that we can't really call back to.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, brought to you by Zencash, Motion Project, and CryptVisor. You know, the powers that be have so many ways to block and spy upon your messages that it's increasingly difficult to actually find a truly secure way to communicate with one another. This is where CryptVisor comes in, the CryptVisor.network, where they have developed a cryptocurrency, a blockchain-based technology that allows your device to communicate with other people's devices without any identifying information in a distributed, non-centralized network. So there's no server for them to shut down. There's no server for the FBI to show up at with the warrant and say, hey, we want all of the messages that this person has sent. There's no information they can get. It's all stored locally on your device. So check them out at cryptvisor.network, where you can actually sign up for free until sometime in August. I don't remember the exact date. But check it out. It's available for Apple iOS presently, and there will be an Android version coming at some point. But back to the news. Apparently, there is another neo-Nazi candidate running for Congress.
Chris Cantwell?
No. Arthur Jones.
Okay.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know. Why do you know that name?
Tell us more about it.
Yeah, according to Huffington Post, which is not exactly the most reliable place in the world, Republican Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner has called him the avowed neo-Nazi who is the GOP's sole candidate in an Illinois congressional race to drop out. Arthur Jones, a former American Nazi Party leader and Holocaust denier, collected enough signatures in March to win the GOP primary for Illinois' heavily Democratic 3rd Congressional District. Well, okay, at least he won't win, I guess. That guy has no place on the ballot, Rauner told WCIA-TV on Tuesday night. We tried to kick him off. I called him to get out, and he should be out. We should have somebody to run against him. The governor's remarks came after criticism from J.B. Pritzker, his Democratic gubernatorial opponent. Days of silence from Bruce Rauner told Illinoisans all they need to know is this. This failed governor can't find the courage to call on an avowed Nazi to drop his bid for Congress, a Pritzker campaign spokesman said in a statement. This is no time to cower. Rauner must call on Arthur Jones to drop out immediately. Rauner had condemned Jones's candidacy in February before he secured the nomination. There is no room for neo-Nazis in American politics, Rauner said at the time. I condemned the man in the strongest possible terms. Last week, Tom, you got something?
Not yet.
Last week, Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, urged Illinoisans to vote for the Democratic candidate, incumbent Dan Lipinski, instead of Jones. This bigoted fool should have 0 votes, Cruz tweeted. That's quite a stand. That's almost as bad as, well, I mean, I don't know, that I'm conflicted on, Cruz and a neo-Nazi, but it reminds me of Bill Weld endorsing Hillary Clinton. Although he condemned Jones, Rauner did not follow Cruz's suit in telling people to vote for Lipinski instead.
There is one good thing about having, a neo-Nazi run. We have more choices.
What? There's nothing good about having neo-Nazis running for office.
Sure, at least it's something that's not Democrat and Republican.
Well, he's running as a Republican.
That's not better, though.
I mean, where else would a neo-Nazi run, though?
At least it gives the appearance of democracy.
I guess there are some within the Constitution Party that run close to that neo-Nazi thing. Or at least there used to be back when I followed what the Constitution Party was up to. So maybe there. Otherwise, pretty much in American politics right now. But think about how amazing that is, that neo-Nazis feel comfortable putting their names on the ballot as Republicans. That it's close enough that, they don't feel unwelcome in the Republican Party. When they should feel unwelcome, everywhere.
I don't know about that.
Always.
I don't.
I do.
I don't.
They should feel unwelcome everywhere. Neo-Nazis
No.
are not. There's no well. There's no well there.
I didn't say well.
Neo-Nazis are bad.
I didn't say they weren't bad. I mean, look,
Can you say they are bad, please?
No,
please say neo-Nazis are bad.
Nazis of all flavors.
I'm not
bad.
gonna.
Nazis are bad.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not.
No,
I'm not supportive.
Hold on.
I'm not supportive of the ideology, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna say, neo-Nazis or Nazis are bad. I mean, certainly the Nazis
say they're bad because they're Nazis, and you're American. Are you not American? We fought a war about this. And the end of the war was Nazis bad, and they're all as dead as we could make them.
Hold on. So in order for Chris to qualify for being a national American, he has to bow to Hell's Hum and condemn this ideology.
No, it's not even American. It's like to qualify for being anything but a Nazi.
Well, look, I debated Matt Keenel on this subject.
When somebody says that I can't say something or I can't have an opinion or I have to do this, I'm gonna say no, I'm not. And that's kind of what the situation with the Nazis are. All right, we've got laws in all these different countries, and there's this social thing that forces us to condemn Nazis. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to
hold on, please. Okay. Germany was a democratic republic when the Nazis came to power.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, there is nothing stopping.
Parliamentary, but
there's democratically elected Republican government.
But I mean, all you're saying is that the people who voted for Nazis were bad too.
Yes. Well, no, they were stupid and scared and desperate.
No, they were bad. They were bad people.
No, they weren't. No, dude, you need to read Hayek's Road to Serfdom before you say that. It was not a character defect of the German people that caused them to vote with the Nazis. It was poverty. It was desperation. It was economic hardship, and these people who came along offering them a way out.
Yeah, well, when your economic hardship causes you to say we should start throwing people in ovens.
Most of the people in Germany did not know the Holocaust was happening.
Yeah, and the thing is,
this is widely documented.
This is looking
after the Americans.
You're looking at it from
the hate speech was
after the Americans dominated Germany. They took the German people and they marched them to the concentration camps. And they said, "Did you know what this was going on?" They thought they were there for a parade. They thought they were there to be celebrated. And what they found out, they had left out there crying and vomiting at how horrific it had been. They didn't know, Tom. There was no internet then.
Well, I'm sure the little children in ovens would have been crying and vomiting if they weren't dead.
I'm sure.
I am not excusing the Nazis.
When you're not forced,
that Germans were not necessarily Nazis just because they elected the Nazis.
When you have a gun to your head, you're going to do stuff that's atrocious, just outrageous. I mean,
well, some people would. I would have rather taken the bullet.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's
the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click tips, tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
You are listening to The Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are having a lively discussion about Nazis and whether or not they are bad.
Well, I mean, I think
they're bad. End of discussion.
I would say that people who sign on with Nazism, as we understand it in today's terms, are certainly bad. But
that's kind of a hard one to disagree with. But yeah, I mean, but the problem is, if you say that they're bad, you also have to condemn America and Americans, because obviously we nuked
Do you not
Japan.
Listen to this show? We do that all the time.
Sure, no, I'll give you that. We do on this show, but I think in general, we have to say Nazis are bad. Like, you're forced into saying, even if you agree with it, you shouldn't be forced into. We shouldn't be preventing people who believe that Nazis are not bad from being able to speak about whatever they want to speak about, or have that opinion.
Define prevent.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. It's the Nazi Party is outlawed, all right? If you speak
no, it's not. Not in the United States. In Germany it is.
Okay. Nazi memorabilia is banned in Canada.
The Nazi Party was outlined in the 1930s
if you deny the Holocaust happened in most of the world, you will be arrested and thrown in a jail cell.
Not even most of the world.
And it happens today.
Only a handful of European countries have outlawed Holocaust denial. It's a really small number, I think like 4 or 5.
And I'm not really crying for the Holocaust deniers.
Well, look, you don't have to cry over it. I'm not asking you to. I'm simply saying I think we should be free to express ourselves. And not that I, like I said, not that I, agree with Nazi philosophy. I don't. Or, like most of what they did, but there's certainly there's certainly a lot of blame to go around as far as murdering innocent people on all sides during World War II.
You know, I was actually watching a World War II documentary recently, and it pointed out that, you know, Churchill knew about the Holocaust as early as like 1942, and they said they didn't do anything about it. But the reality of 1942 was that Churchill couldn't have done anything about it in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Germany was kicking ass in 1942.
But we didn't care.
I don't know that we could have then either.
And we actually stopped the Jews from coming here, if you don't remember. Yeah, we actually stopped because the president
I did notice that the documentary
didn't
had an
want to be
extremely pro-American bias. So it left that out.
The president didn't want to be labeled a Jew lover or something along those lines, because American society at that time was very prejudiced too.
Oh yeah, you had Charles
against
Lindbergh
Jews
in the Senate saying that Jews control the media.
Yeah, I mean, this whole idea that we condemn the Nazis when we were doing a lot of the same kind of stuff here in America.
Not to mention we gave them pardons in exchange for all of the horrific medical research.
Yep. And if you've been around old people, those damn Japs, I mean, what do you think that is?
Yeah, we had concentration camps for the Japanese.
Right. Well, no, that's not even what I'm talking about. I mean, if you talk to like an older person who of that era, you will. It's not the concentration camps. It's the racism. It's the bigotry. It's not about.
Well, I understand old baby boomers' hatred for Japanese.
Yes, but it's a racist.
I wouldn't agree with it, but I understand.
It's a very racist thing. It's like, oh, those beady little eyes kind of. Oh, well, actually, that's South Park in Canada, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like that's the attitude. It's not because of what the Japanese were doing. It was because of like race.
No, it was because of what the Japanese were doing. I don't think most people really had anything against the Japanese until, you know, Pearl
Well, you're
Harbor
talking to different old people than I am, because the old people I've encountered in regards to Japanese were, if you ask me, it was all about race. It was
How do you know that? Have you asked them whether or not they hated Japanese before World War II?
It was their choice of wording. I don't know any other way to describe it.
They fought a vicious do or die war.
Right, I understand, but when you're describing body parts, I don't know how else. I mean, what else is that other than racism?
I'm not saying it's not racism.
Okay.
I'm saying that the reason they are racist is because of World War II. Not that they were inherently racist against Japanese people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It goes further than World War II, even.
I mean, but they're not racist. They're not. They're a racist against all Japanese. It's not just the murdering whatever, right? I mean, the people that were torturing. It's all Japanese.
I don't know if you could hear that in the background, guys. You might lose me again in any minute.
Is that weather?
Yeah, that was thunder.
Oh wow! You can actually hear that.
I told you things are going a little. It's releasing all that humidity I've been complaining about.
Sounded like you were having a World War II down there.
Well, he probably also doesn't have the mics. The mics that we've got that won't pick up that. Our mics probably won't pick up that here in the studio.
I mean, I've got noise reduction here, but it's still gonna, it's pretty bad out there. But even the people who didn't fight in World War II were raised on that kind of racism. My dad
not to mention that the entire Japanese Empire was behind the Japanese war effort to every man, woman, and child. It was a huge part of Japanese pride at the time.
Yeah.
Everyone was willing to die in order to have their glory or to keep.
Why don't we just say that the past was bad? Everybody in the past was bad. I mean, we're going to stereotype.
That's what Tom is saying, because he's using modern cultural standards.
Yeah.
To judge people from the 1940s and from the 1840s and from the 1780s.
Yeah.
Well,
so Tom is saying that everybody in the past is bad.
It's not even.
But it's
not even that. But I mean, there were abolitionists going all the way back to our own founding era. So it's not like there were people in the past who understood that the things we're talking about now are bad.
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
things about it.
Certainly, there's always going to be those rare exceptions. I mean, I call them libertarians today, but I mean, as a general society, right? I mean, if we're going to stereotype, we might as well just stereotype, the past as everybody being bad, not just the Nazis, not just the Japanese,
well, I mean, that's
not just the
people
Americans.
Tend to do.
Yeah, I mean, it seems silly to be being like, oh, the Nazis were bad. Well, yeah, and did you see what we did during World War II too?
It's silly to say that the Nazis were bad.
I think it is. I mean, without putting it into context, it's because the Allies won, and if they hadn't won, we would be saying the Americans were bad. I mean,
I think the Nazis were bad because of the ones who actually participated in the Nazi platform and ideology, and the murder of
we had the same stuff going. We had a lot of the same stuff going on here.
And we condemned that here.
Not then, we didn't.
We did not have concentration camps where we murdered Jews. What are you talking about? We didn't have any of that going on here. We weren't invading people back then.
And now when we do put kids in cages, a good 45% of the country is up in arms about it, whereas 65% of people in Germany were enthusiastically behind the Nazi Party by the time World War II broke out.
Yes, but they were behind it for economic concerns, not for Jewish concerns. Most of them had no idea about the underlying hatred in the Nazi Party.
You can say
the
that
Nazis
about
just
the
happened
people.
to be the party who predicted the economic collapse that was brought about by the Great Depression in the United States, calling in its loans.
Well, I mean,
see, if that had been true,
they
then
bought
Hitler
into false
could have been
promises.
opposed by Parliament.
It's 100% true. That's history, Tom. That's historical fact. The reason the Nazis went from 10% of Parliament to 44% was because of the economic collapse caused by the Great Depression. That's a historical
But
fact.
Hitler himself, though,
that's
only
not
got,
why.
Hitler himself never actually won an election, and when
he did.
He did. He didn't win his original election. He ascended to power.
Yeah, it took them
later.
years because their ideology sucked and people didn't like it.
And if the people had been willing to stand up to him, then they could have elected parliamentarians who would have gotten rid of him before he ever.
But the parliamentarians who ran against him said, "Hey, everything is fine." 2 days before the economic collapse happened.
Lies. That's why he was won. He won because he told the people what they wanted. That's the same reason politicians get elected today. We have the same situation.
They kept beating the drum about how the economic situation was going to get worse,
and Nazis,
and then it did.
Dude,
the
people in power, in power are just as bad. They just don't see how that killing people here in America is going to advance them. Killing people overseas will advance them.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Catch the Call to Freedom at its new time, weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. The Call to Freedom is the only live drive-home call-in show in the U.S. with a segment devoted to cryptocurrencies. Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com, live from Vertcoin Studios in New Hampshire. Learn about what makes cryptocurrencies so great and why you should care about them. Updates on new coins and ICOs, and warnings of scams. Plus, hear from traders, whales, developers, and big names in the crypto world. You can also win crypto coins or tokens every episode. Just listen for the faucet sound and be the 5th caller to get free Dash, Litecoin, Vertcoin, Verge, or other cryptocurrencies. The Call to Freedom with Will and Aria, featuring Crypto Hour. Broadcast internationally through our BitPlus network satellite. Weekdays from 4 to 7 p.m. on LRN FM.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io. The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.fm.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Broadcasting live from the Zencash studio, I am Ari DeMesso. Joining me in the studio, of course, is Chris Wade of Think Penguin.
I'm not sure I want to say that right now.
Sorry about that.
No, it's cool.
And joining remotely from East Tennessee, our legal mind, Tom Gray. And we're going to move on to the cannabis news and the key facts from the Canadian Cannabis Act, which is 400 pages of regulations. From Leafly.com, we have Canadians have known for a while that legal recreational cannabis would soon become a national fact. But no one knew the precise specifics of Cannabis Act's regulations, which contain much of the minutiae and rule setting that fill in many of the blanks in the federal legislation. It covers everything from cultivation, processing, sale of cannabis flowers to the shape and color of barcodes on cannabis packages. There can be only one per package, and it must be square and in black and white. Here are 6 of the most interesting regulation takeaways. 1. Cannabis gains southern access, which means exactly what you think it means.
No, it doesn't. Giggity.
Yes, it does. Giggity. Orally consumable cannabis capsules have been available to authorized medical patients for years. Like I said, it means exactly what you would think. But the Cannabis Act is broadening the scope of these products, enabling not just oral products, but also rectal and vaginal suppositories.
What the?
Wait, what?
Canada,
I'll
man.
take your word for it. It doesn't sound comfortable, but...
There are easier ways to imbibe cannabis than shoving it up your butt or your vagina. Industrial hemp farmers can grow and sell CBD. Industrial hemp farmers are now legally allowed to take CBD produced by their plant and deliver it to a federally licensed cannabis processor, which in turn can make it into cannabis oils, which can then be used in the legal suppositories we just mentioned. Outdoor commercial cultivation is okay. Prior to the Cannabis Act, commercial cultivation of cannabis could only take place indoors. Health Canada has decided to allow outdoor cultivation, which could lead to decreased production costs and overall lower market prices for consumers.
What a concept. They're letting people grow plants outside.
Right. Here's a strange one. No more client labels on bottles. Licensed medical cannabis patients are used to having their medicine labeled with their full name, shipping date, registration, expiration dates, and a separate document that comes in the form of a paper receipt or card issued with each order. Going forward, this information will not be required. Instead, Health Canada will require medical cannabis sellers to give each patient a registration document when they sign up, outlining the terms of the prescription and serving as proof of medical authorization. I'm not sure Leafly knows what recreational means. Because they're talking about how, all of the medical changes, and recreational means outside of the medical system. Simple possession convictions can no longer bar industry participants. Yeah, so this is not about recreational if you can still get a conviction for it. If the only blemish on a citizen's criminal record is a charge of simple possession of a small amount of cannabis, this cannot form the basis of a refusal for security clearance, which is required for key cannabis industry personnel. However, past illicit acts with cannabis can be taken into consideration when issuing or denying security clearances.
Wait, security clearances to grow cannabis?
Apparently.
I think it means security clearances to do like government stuff.
Well, it said that the security
government
clearance
stuff
is
include
required
growing
for
cannabis?
key cannabis industry personnel.
I kind of hope it doesn't include that, but
That's what the article straight up
government's not.
says. It is required for key cannabis industry personnel. Lastly, new cannabis... This is Canada, man. New cannabis drug licenses will allow for prescription cannabis drugs. One particularly hope-bestowing revelation in the regulations, the creation of a new license class for cannabis pharmaceuticals. This will hopefully spur development of cannabis-based prescription medications, which would be exempt from the excise tax. Yeah. Unlike most medical cannabis products, this could also allow cannabis medicines to be assigned drug identification numbers, which are necessary for a medicine to qualify for insurance coverages. So it does sound like they made some pretty good steps toward medical marijuana legalization, or medical marijuana regulation, I would say,
Didn't
because
they,
it's clearly not legal.
already legalize it in Canada? Or is it just certain provinces?
I don't know. This is a federal thing, so I guess not. Well,
maybe they're doing it at the federal level, as
we've
opposed
legalized
to
it here in the
provinces.
states. So, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't done it at the federal level in the United States either. So.
True. But didn't Trump say something about being okay with that?
I thought Trump was cracking down on it.
Things.
Well,
he says so many things.
Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions wants to crack down on it.
There you go. Now I've got you doing my
But I don't know
deal.
about Trump.
I don't know.
Because it's, I would say, well, if his AG wants to crack down on it, then clearly he does. But those two are at odds so often that, and I hate to give Trump any kind of credit for anything whatsoever, but you really can't hold him responsible for Beauregard's nonsense. They seem to have their own separate spheres of nonsense.
I pay zero attention to what either of them do. I mean, it's so far removed from my life that I just do not care.
Must be nice. I don't have that luxury. Everything Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions might affect my profession at any given moment. So
Really?
I gotta watch him.
I mean, most people have the impression that what the president and Sessions and other people do actually affects them on a personal level. But when you get down to it, it really has nothing to do with your life. So, are you sure?
Not so much with me, because all it takes is for him to... He can affect policy in such a way that it affects the entire legal profession. And he's also kind of not a loss leader, sort of a thought leader for how we're expected to act as lawyers. I'm not putting this in a way that makes any sense to anyone else, but suffice it to say the AG has a tremendous influence on what the legal profession looks like. And when it comes to this issue in particular,
the legal
how
industry
we have
is
to,
fascinating. I mean, it's a bunch of pedantic people who made up a set of really complicated rules and then set themselves up as
Well, wait a
arbiters
minute, isn't that
of
what
those
Congress
rules.
did? And then they're just
Well, yeah, but lawyers are
arguing
the
it?
Congress people. I mean, they're all lawyers, one and all.
Yes, that's true. Congress.
So I mean, they created the
wouldn't that be
rules.
fun if
and
I
then
was
they
not
made
New
themselves-
Hampshire.
Then they made themselves the arbiters of who is within the parameters of those rules. And then they seek the police on you if you break any of the crazy rules that they've invented.
Or that they care about. Individuals care.
But you do have attorneys like Tom who aren't doing that. I mean, they're not
I don't know.
all like that.
What are you doing, Tom?
What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm doing radio with you. What kind of question is that?
Well, I mean, we're under the presumption that all lawyers are bad, so, let's...
Well, I didn't say bad.
I don't know. You're pretty close.
No, I said it's interesting that that's what they've done.
It sure sounds
they
like
created
it.
these society's rules, and then they set themselves as the judges of whether or not those rules are followed.
I don't disagree, and you don't think that's bad?
I think it's bad if you want to be free of those rules.
Okay, well, I want to be free of those rules. Do you want to be free of those rules?
I do, but it doesn't make them bad.
Okay.
It makes them...
Do you want to defend yourself, Tom?
No, I think I do want to. I think it does make them bad.
I don't. Well,
but there are
the
good ones like Tom who are not making the rules and enforcing them.
Well,
So-
and here's the thing.
There's always exceptions, right?
Let's be clear about this. Lawyers don't make up a majority of any particular state legislature. So when you say lawyers are the ones making up the rules, yeah, I'm sure. In fact, we've dwindled in number because of this perception that lawyers are the ones writing the crappy laws, when usually it's the non-lawyers who do a bad job writing it, and then lawyers have to fix it.
I mean that's where the word lawyer comes from.
No,
here
we
it is
practice
right
law.
here, Tom. In all, 55% of state legislators nationwide work in business. All lawyers, or say lawmaking is their main profession.
Work in business.
I think you mean they're not all attorneys. And I don't mean to
I don't
split
know
hairs
what
with
we're
you on
talking
that. But I mean,
that's a pretty big hair to split. Lawyers and
look at the etymology of the
We'll
word.
give you the
lawyers.
opportunity to
Plug
defend
tomorrow's
yourself,
show.
Tom, on another show, right?
Plug tomorrow's show, Arya. What should people
We'll be
listen
back
for
tomorrow with more of this frivolity and craziness and banality. But stay tuned because Free Talk Live is coming up next.
Bye, everybody.
I've been told no in many